Hi, I'm Dr. Susan Fudge-Erickson. I'm here to talk to you about parenting, how humbling and hard it is, but I also plan to give you tips to not only survive parenthood, but to love almost every age. First of all, I think we need to agree that parenting is humbling and hard. So let's look at a partial list of why I say this. The skills that it takes to make a baby aren't necessarily the skills it takes to take care of and raise a baby. Parents are used to being in charge of their lives and running multi-million-dollar companies are usually first humbled in the hospital. That black, sticky poop that's impossible to clean, babies who don't know how to sleep, and then they send the breastfed babies home days before the mom's milk comes in. Sleep deprivation sets in, and then the hormones hit. I vividly remember my husband asking me why I was tired and crying at day 4. He's lucky I let him live. The newborn stage is hard. While all that's happening, the parents are being bombarded by all sorts of advice and information. New couples have advice coming from absolutely everyone. The postman who saw you pregnant will give you advice even though he doesn't have any kids of his own. The neighbors will give you advice, and the anti-vaxxers will give advice to anyone who's willing to listen. And then there's the internet. I think this overabundance of information sources is anxiety-producing for parents because the information is at times contradictory to each other and openly false. In these situations, like most situations in life, I would urge you to trust your instincts. They are good. And when you need an information source, call us at Pediatrics West as we follow the American Academy of Pediatrics recommendations, which are based on research, not just fad or hearsay. Now, the reason people pay so much attention to advice is, deep down, we all want to be a perfect parent, despite the fact that we know there is no such thing as a perfect parent. Everyone second guesses themselves and worries that they will drop the baby down the stairs. And we will all do whatever is necessary to live up to the expectations of others. An example of this is burping. We tell new parents to burp the baby, and they do. If the baby doesn't burp, parents will keep smacking their baby's back for a long time. After all, what would happen if the baby didn't burp? Would the baby explode? Better keep burping that baby just in case. I have obviously spoken to a lot of parents who have been humbled by the parenting process, but it's been my pleasure to help them regain a sense of fun and joy. Let's talk about some helpful tips. Probably the most important tip would be to respect control issues. A lot of parenting revolves around control issues, what kids control and what parents control. Life is much easier once you realize this. As a parent, you can't make a child eat, sleep, pee, poop, or talk. In the reverse, you can't make a child not talk either. People who don't have children look at kids screaming in the grocery store and say, "My child will never do that." Parents, on the other hand, look at the situation differently. They realize there is a control battle going on, and they are silently cheering the embarrassed parent not to give in. Eating is another control issue that seems to give a lot of anxiety to new parents. It is really very simple, though. Your job is to make the food, and their job is to eat the food. Don't get your jobs confused. If your child doesn't want to eat your food, the rule is you don't have to eat the food. You will just be hungry, and they don't get to eat until the next meal is offered. It is that simple. In this way, you avoid being a short-order cook, and you also avoid your child eating goldfish crackers all day long and refusing your meals because they aren't hungry. One of the huge undertakings that parents accept from the moment of birth is to raise their little baby to be a good citizen and to develop his or her abilities to the fullest extent possible. This is an overwhelming task if you think hard about it. There are 2 parents and they don't have the same ideas of things. My husband's idea of life expectations for our kids wasn't sufficient as far as I was concerned. He described life as a soccer field, jail being out of bounds, and everything else was in bounds. He felt our role as parents was to raise kids who stayed in bounds. He didn't care how close they got to the out of bounds, which was jail. This is how I got to be the principal rulemaker in our house. I decided to make it simple and easy for everyone. Rather than 1,000 rules, I made only one stated rule: do the right thing. I believe my boys still adhere to this rule. Luckily, my oldest son, Tyler, listened closely to the unstated expectations of the house. Listened well enough to tell his 3-year-old brother, Cooper, these rules in the back of the car driving to his first day of preschool. Tyler's rules are as follows. 1, you don't always get what you want. 2, sometimes you got to do things you don't want to do. 3, you'll never get something when you act badly. 4, even if you know a tree would look better painted purple, you have to paint it green because that's what the teachers expect. I have since advocated to parents to teach their kids these rules, except the 4th rule. Make sure they know the rules apply to adults also. These are just rules for good behavior for everyone. When my kids were babies, my plan for their teen years was to give them away and reclaim them when they were nice humans again. I thankfully never had to do that. Not sure exactly why. Luck maybe? My best advice regarding teens is to meet them where they are, because it's all about them and not about us. Teenhood actually looks frightfully like being a new parent. High school is initially an alien environment. There's too much advice and information coming at them, and the kids strive to be perfect in one way or another. Meet your kids wherever they are, even if it's not where they want to be or where you want them to be. They may want to talk, maybe they want silence. Hopefully they will let you teach them what you know. It may be in words and it may be by example. The examples stick the most. Teach them how important it is to be able to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I don't know, and I need help. Show them how to wring out all the joy and lessons that can be found in all life situations, good and bad. But most of all, have fun with them.